Great. Or another way the energy shifts, sometimes there's emoting. Sometimes clients laugh or cry. Um, but Atlas cedar wood on kidney 3, that point and that oil work together really well to draw the energy down and in. It's very centering, it's very stabilizing and grounding. Black spruce is another woody oil. Very tonifying for the kidneys, fortifies the yang and the kidney essence, the jing. So here that's on the outer foot. Again, same technique. 1 drop on your finger, holding it for 1 to 3 minutes, or until you feel the energy shift, whichever comes first. And we've already talked about how centering vetiver is. Vetiver is not a woody oil, it's a rooty oil, and the rooty oils sink the chi. They draw the energy straight down, they ground us, they connect us with the earth. It's very potent, as we talked about at the beginning of the presentation, on CV6 to bring us into our center and ground us. You can also use that on kidney 3. And then nutmeg on governing vessel 4. I want to talk about governing vessel 4 because this is an important point for warming the Ming Men. This is very related to our essence. If you're not familiar with the Chinese term Ming Men, Ming can be translated as life or fate, while Meng can be translated as either gate or door. So when you put those together, people talk about the gate of life, the gate of destiny, or even the fire of life, right? And this fire, the kidney, something I didn't mention, but is very important, is the kidney is the source of yin, the substances of the body, and of yang, the circulation of those substances. And this is where the Ming Men is very important. You need that warmth, that fire, to keep the fluids circulating. It also warms the Ming Men, the cauldron of digestion. So it nurtures our digestive organs. And because it's related to our destiny, it also, when you keep the Ming Men strong, you're automatically nurturing the Jing, our essence. So a key acupressure point for nurturing the Ming Men, let me stop my share. Governing vessel 4. So I already showed you bladder 23, level with the waist on the inner bladder line. If you go in between that all the way to the spine, right in between the vertebrae of the, I want to say the lumbar vertebrae, the third, let me count, 1, 2, between the 3rd and 4th lumbar vertebrae, that is where you find governing vessel 4. And nutmeg, which is a spicy pungent, is very warming. So this is an oil I always recommend diluting, even if you're just using a couple drops. Put like a quarter-size puddle of an unscented massage oil or cream into your hand, and then add, all you need is a couple drops of nutmeg. It's very warming. And then take that in your hands and briskly rub this area behind the kidneys, stimulating governing vessel 4, which is right on the spine, level with the waist. And also you can include bladder 23 and 47, the kidney U point. This is said to warm the Ming Men, fueling activity, responsible for metabolism, circulating the fluids, and keeping our Jing nourished. Very important part of nurturing water element. And lastly, I want to talk about the emotion of water element, the emotion that's balanced by water element, which is fear or anxiety. And there's a wide spectrum. I think all of us on some level carry some anxiety, some low level anxiety, anytime we feel disconnected with our true nature, with our life path, with what we're meant to be doing and who we really are. I think that always, and you see it, and that's, it could be very low level. It could be more intense where the anxiety really drives people and to grip life out of fear, push themselves in a way that's hyper vigilant, trying to take control or steer the course of their life out of fear. And then on the most extreme is clinical anxiety. So there is a whole spectrum, and we all dip into fear or anxiety to some degree sometimes. One of the things I want to say is that when we are driven by our fear, it does often push us into this kind of hypervigilant state that I just described of trying to take control and be right and always be on top of things and feel in control of our lives. And this very much is asking for the medicine of water element, which gives us the ability to be fluid in our lives, to be adaptable to the challenges that life presents us, and to move like a river through those challenges. When we're afraid, the way it shows up in the body, you could feel it as body armoring in your clients. You all know those clients that you put your hands on and they just feel armored, right? Maybe they're afraid. Teeth grinding, pain syndromes, like those inexplicable pain syndromes like fibromyalgia, or as I described, a threat of urgency in their life. Oh my God, what if? So one of our jobs as acupressure therapists is to support the body balancing fear and anxiety by nurturing water element. And this is a sequence, this is an aroma AcuTouch sequence that I teach in my 5 elements class to address fear and anxiety in the body mind. I learned this actually from my Aroma Point teacher, Tiffany Carroll. I don't know if any of you have heard of her. I had 2 teachers that strongly influenced me in this approach of using essential oils to stimulate points. Peter Holmes with Aroma Acupoint Therapy and Tiffany Carroll of Aroma Point Therapy. And so I really want to give Tiffany her recognition because she taught me this sequence. So we're using in the sequence a combination of oils, and I'll explain each oil and show you each point as I go through. The first point I'm going to show you with a pen because my finger tends to get in the way, and I'll even draw it on my ear. This is an ear point called Shenmen, and it's above the top shelf. I call this the top shelf of the ear. I'm trying to draw a little dot on the point, but I don't think the pen mark came through. But can you see where that is? Give me a thumbs up if you could see, because my head was turned away. Good. So bergamot on Shen Men. This is very calming. I start almost every session with bergamot on Shen Men. Shen Men helps to quiet the mind. It helps to balance the brain, the right and left hemispheres of the brain. As it quiets the mind, it clears the mind and opens perspective. So it's just, and we're using bergamot as a sweet lemony. The sweet oils are very nurturing and they calm by regulating the chi. So this is just a nice way to start. And then blue tansy on liver 14. Liver 14 is between the 6th and 7th rib. So the 7th rib is your bottom rib right here. So go just superior to that. For me, I have to go under my bra strap to go in between the 6th and 7th rib. It's different on different people, depending upon the size of their chest. But liver 14, the name of this point, it's so beautiful, is called the Gate of Hope. And blue tansy works really well to help restore hope if you're feeling afraid and shut down due to the fear. If you're feeling afraid and it brings a kind of hopelessness, like what if, that what if space, we all sometimes go into that what if space, then you can use blue tansy on liver 14. Blue tansy is a sweet green. So the sweet oils, as I said, they calm by regulating the chi, and the green oils move the chi. So the green oils have a strong resonance with the liver, whose job it is to ensure a smooth movement of chi and blood and emotions. And here at liver 14, this is the highest point on the liver meridian. So it connects us. This is often called the point of aspiration. And from liver 14, the chi returns to the lung meridian at lung 1, the point of inspiration. So this point connects our aspiration with our inspiration in life and restores hope. And then lavender on yin tong. Yin tong is your third eye point and bladder 3. So let me show you. So yin tong, if you go 1 finger's width above the center of your 2 eyebrows, that's yin tong. And then liver 3, so maybe bladder 3, excuse me. Bladder, as you know, starts at the upper inner corner of the eye, and if you draw a straight line up from that right to the hairline, that is bladder 3 at the hairline. And you can hold the 2 bladder points. Sorry, my bangs are in the way. You can hold the 2 bladder points and yin tong simultaneously. And same thing on your clients. You can hold, if they're face up, you can hold that simultaneously. This is very, very calming to the mind. Sometimes when we are afraid, our mind gets caught in that hamster wheel of anxiety that drives us. Sometimes it keeps us awake. Sometimes the mind just can't stop churning. This is really an important combination for calming an overactive mind, using lavender, which is a green oil. Again, very calming. Lavender is known to be soothing to the nervous system. 1 drop on each of these points, holding for 1 to 3 minutes. You can do that as part of this sequence to calm anxiety. You can do that if you're having trouble falling asleep at night. You can recommend that to your clients. You can do that if you're noticing that you're trapped in an overactive mind, maybe worrying about one of your kids, or maybe worrying about money, or, worry is very closely linked with fear or anxiety. and it keeps the mind turning. So lavender here on bladder 3 and yin tong is very potent. And then here we are, vetiver on CV6. That's right where we started at the beginning of this workshop, to draw our energy down and center us. CV6, in case you weren't here at the very beginning, because I know some people came late. This is the navel, right? And you go 3 fingers widths below the navel. That is CV6. C of energy. Helps bring us into our center, helps to ground us. Vetiver, which is a rooty oil, draws the energy down. It's very grounding. It's very centering. And then pimento berry on CV8. So CV8 is right in the center of the navel. And if you don't want to put your finger in your client's navel, because that's kind of intimate, you can use a Q-tip. You can put a drop of oil on the Q-tip and place the Q-tip in their belly button. And just let them know, I want to hold this point in your belly button. I'll be using a Q-tip. Is that okay? A lot of women are sensitive, or people are sensitive about being touched on their abdomen and especially their belly button. So I usually just ask first. And this, of course, the navel is the point at which the umbilicus connected us with our mother, the original source of nourishment. So sometimes when we feel afraid, or if we're driven by anxiety, it's related to feeling disconnected with the source, disconnected with our source of nourishment, whether it be our spiritual source of nourishment, whether it be emotional sources of nourishment, the love from our friends or our family. And then, of course, there's physical nourishment. Pimento berry is a sweet oil that connects and nurtures us with the earth element. The earth element is about receiving nourishment. So pimento berry on CV8 to connect us with that source. And then the final point on the sequence to ground and end is vetiver on kidney 1. Kidney 1, you might know, is the only point on the sole of the foot. It's the base of the ball of the foot between the big toe and the second toe. Bubbling spring is the name of this point. It, because it's on the sole of the foot, of course, it helps to ground us. We are using vetiver essential oil, which, as I mentioned, is a rooty oil, draws the energy down to ground and root the chi. But at the same time, bubbling spring is a potent point for the rising of the kidney chi. So it nurtures the kidney chi as it grounds us and connects us with the earth. So if you don't have time to do a full sequence like this with your client, this might take, 10 or 12 minutes. You can hold woody essential oils on the source points, like I mentioned earlier. And if you're not ready to use this with clients, maybe using essential oils on points is new to you, start by doing this sequence on yourself so you can really feel the impact, and then you can be your own testimony. You know how it feels using the oils on your points, how it impacts your chi, how it nurtures your energy, how it calms the anxiety or the fear, how it sweetly nurtures the kidney chi. Start on yourself. And then as you become more comfortable, maybe you'll venture into using it with your clients. If you want to learn more about Roma AcuTouch therapy, I use it. It's very central in both my 5 elements class. I teach aroma accutouch sequences like this in my 5 elements class for each of the elements. And I also teach a class called Balancing the Nervous System, where we look at the nervous system. I'm going to stop my share for a minute. From the Chinese perspective. So a tense nervous system would be constraint or constrained qi. And a weak nervous system would be deficient qi. Constrained qi, we know it shows up as shoulder neck tension, headaches, digestive tension, menstrual cramps. Deficient qi, we also know how that shows up as fatigue, low immunity, poor concentration, scanty periods, or weak digestion. So in that class, we learn an aroma accutouch sequence for each of these manifestations of constraint or deficiency. So if it interests you, I did just want to show you 1 or 2 more slides with links to my website.
Raizelah,
Yeah,
before we go, can you just review the points?
yeah, the points in that sequence.
Yes.
Sure.
So everybody can remember. And
Yeah, yeah. Bergamot on Shen Men, which is right here above the top shelf of the ear. Blue tansy on liver 14 between the 6th and 7th rib in line with the nipple. Lavender on yin tong and bladder 3. Vetiver on CB6, 3 fingers widths below the navel, and then pimenta berry right on the navel. CB8. And vetiver on kidney 1, on the base of the ball of the foot.
Thank you.
Sure. So I know my time is up. I just want to tell you a little bit more about what I have coming up, and then I will complete in just a few minutes. So the way I like to teach, I like to put it together. I teach a very comprehensive program. It's an 8-month program. We meet once a week online for 2.5 hours. And it's called Integrating Chinese Medicine into Massage Therapy. We spend the first 15 hours learning potent point sequences for common complaints. And then we go in depth in the meridians, their functions, physically, emotionally, spiritually, tracing the meridians, learning potent points along the meridians. So you learn the source points, the low points, the U points, the entry points, the exit points. And then we go into balancing the 5 elements using aroma accutouch therapy and balancing the nervous system with aroma accutouch therapy. And in both of these classes, we also talk about herbs. And then in person, I teach an in-person optional retreat for people that have come through my program and know the meridians, they know the elements, or people that have come through your Shiatsu program, because I know you learn meridians and elements there. Then I teach the meridian massage techniques of Tui Na, Chinese meridian massage, and I blend that with table Shiatsu. And I know many of you are Shiatsu practitioners. I'm not sure how many work on the table, but that's another way to work. And all of my classes, I can provide CEUs for them from the National Certification Board. If you are interested in this program, remember this coupon code, workshop, because you're taking this workshop with me. You can use this coupon code called workshop, and it will save you $84 on the cost of the program applied to the 12-month payment plan. And these are some links to my website and to my Teachable site. I use Teachable to house my online school. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put these links, if you give me just a minute, I'm going to copy these links into the chat box. Hold on 1 minute while I do that. just takes a minute to navigate the screen. Okay, there you go. So you can join my mailing list by going to the contact page on my website. My website is openpathwaysmassage.com. The program that I just was talking to you about, the link to that program is right here. I'm pointing, I don't know if you can see that I'm pointing to it with my cursor. It's the openpathways.teachable.com link. And then below that, I give you the coupon code here as workshop. Below that, I give you a link to my website store where you can buy essential oils for 10% off the suggested retail price. Because you're now one of my students, I give 10% off to all of my students. I carry very pure, organic, artisan distilled essential oils by Snow Lotus. And then my contact information is here. Feel free to text me if you want to find a time to talk, or email me. And lastly, the very bottom of this chat, I put the link to the first class in my program. My program, as you might recall, is comprised of 4 courses, and some people aren't quite ready to make that big of a commitment. They want to take the first class first and then decide. So if you want to enroll in just the first class, which is Potent Points for Acupressure's Potent Points for Common Complaints, the link is right there at the bottom. That way you can get a little more of a taste of my teaching. I know you got that a little bit this morning. And we are at time, so I want to give you a chance to ask any questions. I'm going to change this to gallery view so I can see you, and just raise your hand. Questions about the material that I presented, about water element, self-care, about my program and classes. I welcome your questions or comments or input.
When is the course starting?
It starts the first week of January. And like I said, we meet once a week for 8 months, and you have the choice of a Monday evening program or a Tuesday morning program, Pacific Standard Time.
That's a great start of the new year.
Yes. And people are signing up. Classes are starting to fill up. So, if you're interested, talk to me, go to my Teachable site. I think it deeply complements what you've already learned in Shiatsu. If you feel like some of the classes are too repetitive, because I know there is overlap, then I can talk to you about which classes would be most appropriate for you, and we can just prorate the cost of the program, to reflect the number of hours you're actually participating in. There's something in the chat. I have the beginnings of cataracts and could use some help with that. Yeah, liver meridian is what comes to my mind. Kumiko, you're nodding. Feel free to add anything. The liver takes care of the eyes and our vision. Liver 3 is the source point. Eyebright is an herb that you might try making an eye wash by steeping eyebright and washing the eyes with it. It nourishes the eyes. Thank you, Deb. Deb, you're here. Where are you? Deb Wall to everyone. Nice to see you. Glad you could join us. Deb is one of my students.
Yeah, he said it was excellent class.
Yes. Good. Well, we are getting to time, so if more questions come up for you, feel free to email me. I'm always available. You could also message me on Facebook. I think many of you are Facebook friends with me already. So I always welcome a conversation.
Everybody's okay? Any questions? No? That's great. Thank you so much, Raizelah. That was so good. Such a very practical information we could use everyday life to improve our health and well-being. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me. It's so fun to come and connect with you all. And
yeah, always. You're so helpful and supportive. You're one of the powerhouse for Shiatsu community. Thank you, Raizelah.
Like you, Kumiko.
Oh, thank you.
Are a powerhouse.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
So you have a Raizelah's information? Yes?
Yep. Raizelah at openpathwaysmassage.com.
Yes. Thank you. So let's put our hands together. Gasho to everybody. So we don't have a music today, but I want to draw the calligraphy. It's a winter. So we call Mizu. Oh, can you see? I'm gonna
want to see.
So there's a spine and in. Oh, can you see?
Yeah. Can I spotlight you?
Yeah, okay. Thanks. So there's a spine and left and right. We go Mizu. So today I want everybody to say Mizu. So let's hum together to vibrate your spine and send ourselves thanks to our winter energy. Mizu. And let's purify our energy, our heart and soul. Let's chant again one more time. Mizu. Yeah, did you go to the Kiniwan bubbling spring? Shall we try one more time? So get energy from the bubbling spring, Kiniwan, through your spine and release through your spine. And breathe in, bubbling spring, Kiniwan. And Mizu. Yes. Everybody have a great weekend. See you next Saturday. Next Saturday is the last Saturday gathering, 2021. Our guest is Bunny. He's been teaching Shiatsu for 40 years in Paris and France. He has so much to offer. He loves Shiatsu. Let's get his bubbling energy to our heart. So have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, Raizelah. Thank you, Lynn, Deora, everybody.
Thank you.
Noma. So good to see you, Gail.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.